Afternoon. Welcome to my kitchen. Tip 3. Hope we're good. March 16th. I think it's about a year. I think it's about a year in lockdown now, isn't it? I think it's about that. Anyway, got some biscuits. I've got like a little crunch thing. I think it's just called crunch cream. That's what I've got today. Anyway, we're all good. We're going to talk about today. I'm going to have a little chat about what's it going to be like going back to work. Are we going to go back to work? What's going to happen? What's going to look like? What have we learned? That kind of stuff. I just thought, because I feel like the end is in sight, maybe. So I thought I'd have a chat about that. That's what I'll do. See what's what. And I've got a question. I've got a question for you. So I hope some people answer it, because otherwise Clara keeps winning. So we don't really want that to happen. So my question today, because I was thinking about maybe somebody might go over to an office. So my question today, the sort of biggest kind of building in the UK is the Shard. And what I want to know is how much office space the Shard has got. But I want to know how much it's got in football pitches. So how many football pitches could you fit in the office space in the Shard? That's the question today. So there you go. Have a guess. There's a lot of floors, the Shard. I think there's about 70 floors. So if you know how big football pitch is, you'll be able to work it out like a breeze. So that's the question. How many football pitches can fit in the Shard's office space? So have a guess. Anyway, somebody have a guess. Otherwise, I'll just ask the question. I'll get it right myself. I'll let Clara win. I'll ask it again. I'll let's start 3 o'clock. So we'll talk about kind of going back to work. What's it going to be like? The words that kept getting mentioned at the start of lockdown: 89 football pitches. Wowzers! So somebody's got to guess. We need Crofty back. That's what we need. We need Crofty back. I was working with him this morning. 23, assuming it's wowzers. 11 aside pitch, 23 assuming it's 11 aside, or 56 if it's goals 5 aside pitch. Very good. I'm loving the very clear descriptions. That's very good. 23 or 89. Wow, that's 66 difference. Going back to work, the phrase that we kept hearing was, what is the new normal? And it was a phrase I didn't really like much, to be honest. So is this the new normal that we're in? Are we going to go back to what we know as the old normal? Or is there going to be a new normal when we go back? That's the first thing. So in lockdown, there was people with families, and what they wanted more than anything during lockdown was to be not at home. And then there was the people at home on their own, and what they wanted to be was not there because they wanted to be with people. So kind of everybody wanted to get out in the first place. So that was a bit tricky. And it kind of went through 3 stages, I think, lockdown. And I'm aware we've kind of gone up and down, and we could do a bit here and we could do a bit there. But with the stages of working at home, we've all been working at home probably for the best part of a year, or a lot of us. And the first stage, there was this kind of, it was a bit of an adrenaline rush almost. And what was the Zoom boom became normal. That's what it was known as. And we kind of went, oh, well, this won't be long. This will be fine. We'll kind of get through this and everything will be all right. If only we knew. Then the second bit of work from home kind of became a bit of a blur. There was that bit where you kind of didn't really know what was going on. Like the lines got a bit blurred between work and home. It just seemed to go on. It never really stops. And then finally, the bit that we're in at the moment is kind of, is it ever going to end? Will it end? Are we there now? Is this it? So they're kind of in the 3 stages: the Zoom boom, the blur, and the please let it finish. They're the kind of stages. Now, there's a few things that I think we've kind of picked up, and I've just kind of picked these up, and some I agree with, some are worth a challenge. But the first one that I read that did make me smile, and that's probably because I'm old as well, but it said about the phone, and it said, I never realised how much I missed the phone. And prior to work from home and the pandemic, I was very comfortable to email, to maybe have WhatsApp groups or something. And then obviously Zoom came in, and what became known as like the Zoomageddon. So the Zoomageddon, which dominated us. Now the phone has suddenly kind of got a wee bit more of a rise in popularity because it kind of cuts the chain of constantly typing. So potentially, I believe the phone could become a real asset. We do crave human interaction, and I think if we're able to get that back, I think actually the phone could come back in. Something else that I think we've learned to do and we've got a lot better at, we used to talk about it in the old normal, but that was about stand-up meetings, walking, that kind of thing. And I think over this stage 3 of the pandemic and the work from home, I think we've learned to do that a lot better. I do think walking meetings will stay. I think even if we're in the office, I think they'll stay, where people will choose to get up and walk about. They're good from an energy point of view. They're good from a fun point of view, and you can actually problem solve. And I know I've mentioned this on previous T's at threes. That's proven that if you walk, your brain is more creative. Of course, the other thing, I've been fortunate. I think this is T at 3 number 56. 56 times I've been in my kitchen, but missed the kitchen at work. The kitchen is the place where we get so much done. So any workspace with kitchen. So I think one of the things that people do miss is that informality of being in the kitchen. And that's why we kind of set this up. We wanted that informality of that chat kind of thing. So the kitchen's back in. Things how business will have changed and have to change is presenteeism really is no more. So being somewhere, and this goes back to Simon Sinek's point early on, it's not about where are you, it's about how are you. So I think that's broken that right away now, that we recognise people can work and do work, and we don't need to monitor them every second of the day. Now, as that blurred line came with working from home, of am I working, am I resting, when do I work? A few people have started talking about, I want my weekends back. And I think that's one thing that if people are working back in an office, that may help them to do. I'll talk in a moment about, how do we want to go back? Do we want to go back to what it was like? And the short answer is no, really. But this is just the thought that came to my mind, because we want that break, that this is no longer work and now it's the weekend or whatever, and it's my time. I'm just wondering if actually Friday is now going to be a more popular day to go to work. Often if people had the ability to work from home, I think people would do that on a Friday. And I'm wondering, I think people might actually go in on a Friday, and then when it finishes, that will make that cut and say, and now is the weekend. Whereas the danger is it could carry on blurring. So that's something that I think might happen going forward, that Friday becomes a day where people work. Now, who does want to go in? Who does want to be in the office? Well, bizarrely, only 3% roughly don't want to go back ever. They don't want to go back to their place of work, just under that 5% mark. But only 3% want to go back in for 5 days. So the big thing is the bulk of people want to go back, but not 5 times. Now, there's lots of talk about, generations and ages and who's it damaged and who hasn't it damaged. And, if anybody's got a kid, like 10, 11-year-old child, they're probably great at building up relationships online, maybe gaming or something like that. So I think younger people can be more resilient. Having said that, my son's 22 and he's gone back into work because he needed that social interaction. So I don't think it's a generational thing. I think there will be some younger people who are very comfortable working remotely. And equally, I think there are some older people who will be working very well and happy to work remotely. Probably those kind of Gen Xers, those kind of people will be more comfortable working at home, because lifestyles will have adapted, that they will feel that the balance is better, particularly if they've got kids and things like that. How we use office space is going to be interesting, because what do we need to go in for? What are the benefits of people being there? And they would be for things around that collaboration, for working together, relationships, obviously, but any complexity, so any problem solving, any complex problems that need solving. That is where we want to get in and do it. And it's proven that it will work better when we're face to face. Continuously, that becomes a drain both mentally and physically well-being wise. And so that's why I don't think 5 days back in the workspace will come back. Other things we're going to have to get better at, things like we're all used now to a lot more video conferencing, but equally, probably a few years ago, you probably remember conferencing meant there was one person on a video screen or two people, and then there was 2, 4, 6, 8 other people somewhere else, all having a conversation around them or just pulling one person in. We now have to be better with how we use those tools, utilize everything. It's not just a video link now we're after, it's some level of engagement that we're working with people. That's what we want, so that people can use whiteboards, they can use tools, they can share information. That's what we've become a lot more familiar with. So video conferencing from what we see as the old normal will change. It has to change. We can do so much better than that. So yes, I believe that we will go back into the workspace under very different terms. I think it will be less time. I don't think it will be five days, but I think if that's the environment you came out of, what we're seeing is 90-95% plus want to sit back in that environment, and there's lots of positives about it. Now, what about my question? How many football pitches can we fit in the Shard? Well, I'm a bit concerned because I think Kev might have worked it out quite tightly. And I'm never really sure if it's every floor of the Shard or just the office space in the Shard. So the official answer is just over 16 pitches. They're full-size pitches. So well done, Kev. You're pretty much on point there. And I'd look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great afternoon. I'm going to enjoy my tea. See you later.